Welcome back, viewers at home. Tonight, we are speaking to all individuals doing great work, phenomenal things. And tonight, I'm joined by Coovashan Pillay, who is the president of South Africa's Chefs Association. And tonight, he's here to tell us more on the landmark culinary event, InfoChef 2025. And we're here to find out what is going on and what is up about this event that is here to inspire, innovate, and impact the culinary industry. Coo, or rather Chef Coo Pillay, good evening and thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, before we get into being inspired and really, being innovative in that sense, can you tell us or rather give us a brief overview on who, Chef Pillay is?
Okay, well, so I actually hail from KwaZulu-Natal. So I grew up on a farm on the north coast. So spoilt for choice when it comes to fresh produce, fresh vegetables, and also growing up in a very large family where everything was surrounded by food. And, no matter what the occasion was, even family gatherings on weekends was all about the food. And every aunt, every uncle, my dad, also a very good cook, had their own speciality. And that's where I picked up certain traits and certain passions, which then developed and I then made it into a career.
Do you remember that one meal that had you feeling like, I am the chef that thinks he is?
Well, I'm a chef with a difference. A lot of chefs, have these huge egos, and I want to respect the chef and respect what he wants or what she wants to bring onto the plate.
Yeah.
Yes, I can cook. Yes, I can, enhance flavors. I can, fuse together different cuisines. But I also need to have that respect for other chefs and other cooks. So I always believe it's a little bit of give and take.
Oh, it's a give and take. So you don't have that one meal that makes you feel so like, in the element, in the moment, prior to you being, the president and all the accolades that come with it. To say, embarking on the journey, as much as you had the bug bite you of being a chef or being in the kitchen in that sense, there must have been that one meal that even if when you made it the first time, you were like, yeah, this is for me.
I think for me, it's replicating my parents' food
Ah,
because that's the food I grew up with.
yeah.
And like I said, it's home style cooking,
Yeah,
and it's
amazing.
cooking with love, it's cooking with heart, it's cooking with passion, and that's what I believe in. And for me, it's replicating, for example, my mum's fish biryani, which is one of her favorite dishes to make, and my dad's chicken curry that's cooked on an open fire. And that's what I like. I like rustic style cooking. I like home style cooking, and it's all about sharing. Yes, I can do the little nouvelle cuisine and the fine dining elements, but for me, it's just bringing people together because that's what food does.
Yes,
It brings people.
definitely.
It brings people together.
Now, for someone who's hearing about SA Chef Association, can you give us an insight in terms of what is it all about?
So the association is the recognized professional body for the culinary industry. And I know that sounds a little bit high tech, but basically we represent everybody that cooks. So it's cooks, chefs, and caterers. There's this notion that we represent just high-end chefs or chefs that work in hotels, but we represent all cooks, all caterers, all chefs, no matter where they are. So you could be in a high-end fine dining establishment, or you could be an informal trader,
Yeah.
but you are servicing the food industry, and that's who we represent. So we've got a vast and diverse sector that we do represent, and it's growing. And this is why we have these initiatives and shows like InfoChef to bring the industry together.
And with that being said, seeing now, like behind the scenes, you telling me that you were coming from the UK, such a busy life. I have to ask you, how do you balance, being the president and, being a chef, and I believe having to, have the family dynamic to, look into. How do you even strike a balance?
So it starts off with being the chef. And as I say to young chefs that are coming into the industry,
Yeah.
that being a chef is not a job, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle because you grow up with it. It's a passion. I can't teach you to be a chef. Chefing becomes from within, it's a passion. I can teach you skills to enhance your passion, but you need to want to cook. I can't force you to cook. And I think that's the difference. And I think when you have that passion and when you have that love for the industry, that you want to give back, and that's what the association's all about. So the association, including myself, we're all volunteers that give our time to this industry and to our craft.
Yeah.
So you've got to strike the right balance, because I do have a day job, I do have a family time, and I do also want to give back to the association, to the new generation of chefs.
Wow.
And how do we stay relevant? So yeah, it sometimes is a bit tricky, because sometimes you end up spending a little bit more time than you do expect. But then when you look at the bigger picture and you look at what the outcome is, it just makes it all worth it.
Now, Chef Coo Pillay, I want us to look at the workshop that's going to be taking place between the 29th and 30th of July, and I believe the venue is going to be at Wanderers Club. Now, it says that it's an interactive workshop that sharpens your skills, live cooking demos, and so much more. Take us through the event, or what inspired it, the purpose of it, and some of the anticipated outcomes.
So as the name suggests, it's InfoChef.
Mm.
So it's everything to do with the chef, starting from the grassroots. So a big portion of our visitors will be scholars, so scholars in grade 10s, 11s, and 12s that are looking into a career, not just as a chef, but in the greater hospitality sector.
Yeah.
Because again, our industry is so diverse.
Yeah.
It's not just about standing behind a stove. I mean, you can go into food nutrition, you can go into food manufacturing, you can go into large-scale corporate catering. So this event, just opens those doors to those opportunities for these scholars to see what this industry is all about. So that's the one aspect of it. And that's where we do the activations and the demos, just to also entice these scholars to see what it is to be a chef. But then we also cater for the junior chefs, so the chefs that are in culinary school, that are in either first or second year or doing their in-service training, to also show them opportunities that they have already in the mix of becoming a chef.
Yeah.
What other opportunities there are. So they'll attend product activations from various products that will be on show. They'll be a part of seminars and panel discussions by industry professionals, giving them advice, talking about life, and how to, again, going back to that balance, how to strike the right balance in your career, and also dealing with things like stress, because we are in a stressful environment.
Yeah.
And then the last aspect is the professional chefs, so the senior chefs that are in the industry, chefs that have 10 to 50 years of experience, so they also are part of the event. They give back in various talks and seminars, but they also bring in new relevant topics, and how do we as an industry remain relevant in today's age. And then it also brings the greater industry together, so our vendors, our suppliers, our workplaces, everybody that's involved with hospitality and catering. So this is a huge show for the culinary industry.
Now, when we're thinking about evolve, transformation, we always see it in fashion, we see it in, technology. But in the culinary industry, can you tell me a bit on how it has evolved in that sense?
The culinary landscape has definitely evolved. You may not see it as fast as international markets,
Yeah.
but definitely in South Africa we are growing. South African culinary is seen as one of the benchmarks for the Africa model, especially when it comes to associations like the SA Chefs, when it comes to culinary competitions, in terms of the global landscape. We are seen to be the leaders on the continent, but we're still far behind in terms of where the rest of the world is. And this is where we use these initiatives like InfoChef, because part of the InfoChef is also to talk about what are the next steps, what are the challenges that we as an industry face, and how can we work together to overcome these hurdles that we have.
Yeah.
But also talking about how can we work together, especially as an identity, because right now, if you ask somebody, what is the national food of South Africa?
Oh.
It's a very open, debatable topic.
Yeah.
But again, people lose the focus on what is indigenous and what is heritage. And there's a big difference, because yes, you can talk about pap, you can talk about bobotie, you can talk about the bani chow, which is all great local food, but those are heritage foods. what is our indigenous food? What is our indigenous ingredients? And that's something that's quite relevant that we talk about over and over in these expos. And we're now starting to see it, especially on high-end menus in hotels now, where you actually see sorghum now on menus, where you see maize and these kind of indigenous ingredients that you never expected to see on high-end a la carte and restaurant menus.
I'm loving how this conversation is quite insightful. It's teaching me a lot about something that we enjoy food, but we don't really take in to say the effort that is put and the effort that is needed. And I think one thing you highlighted is the passion that really is required in it all. And with that being said, Chef Coo Pillay, I want to find out from you, what do you, or what impact or what influence are you hoping to have on the culinary industry in terms of education and training?
So as an association, we have three pillars, and I'm so happy that you mentioned two of them. So our three pillars are: we represent, we connect, and we educate.
Wow.
And so we represent by bringing all cooks, caterers, and chefs within the industry together to represent them. And by using these events, we connect them. And not just these events, but through our various channels that we have. So we have our social media platforms, we have our membership portal, we have various tiers of our membership portal where you can connect with various members, asking for advice, asking for collaborations, asking questions, because that's how we grow in an industry. And finally, educate. And we educate not in a classroom setup, but we educate in various aspects, with the show being one of them. We also teach short skills, we upskill areas that you need upskilling in, and also a big component of what we do is competitions. Culinary competitions is a big global benchmark where we, again, as an African continent, are very far behind. And so we use these initiatives, we use programs like this to also educate people about competitions and why it's important to actually participate. And a lot of people don't even know that we have culinary Olympians in South Africa.
Whoa.
That have who are Springboks. Wow. They are recognized. They have the green and gold blazer and represent us on a global stage at the World Championships as well as the Culinary Olympics.
Amazing. I am also part of those. A lot of people who just didn't know. But thank you for that. And with that being said, just as a reminder about the event itself, or rather the workshop itself, can you tell us a bit on more details around it, or rather if there are any prerequisites for individuals who are watching now and would like to, partake in this workshop?
So even though it's called an InfoChef, anybody can attend because there's different facets to it. So it's not a workshop where you'll have to be in one venue all the time. You can walk around. There's various areas of interest. So we've got the expo, the exhibitions, where we've got various suppliers showcasing new products, uniforms, catering equipment, new trends that are coming out in the market. Then we have the seminar and activation rooms, where we'll have the panel discussions and the education, but in a fun way. And then we've got the demo areas, and we've got a couple of celebrity chefs that are going to be there. And then we've got two competitions that are happening. We've got the Chocolate Master competition as well as the skills competition. So again, it's allowing young chefs to shine through and show us what skills they have. So it's a show that caters for various visitors. It is on the 29th and 30th of July at the Wanderers Club in Ilovo. There is a registration fee, so if you are a member of SA Chefs, it's 110 Rand per person, and a non-member, it's 150 Rand, but it does include a lunch pack as well for attending.
And what does it take to be a member of, South Africa's Chef Association?
Well, follow us on sachefs.co.za, and it's as simple as that. There's an online portal, and you can become a member of SA Chefs, and you don't have to be a professional member of SA Chefs. You can become an associate member. So if you're somebody that just, these days everybody is a chef, especially with social media and all of these videos, and they call themselves influencers now, but they're not professional chefs, but they can become chefs or members. and they can become an associate member. So there are opportunities for everybody out there to be part of SA Chefs.
Now, Chef Coo Pillay, unfortunately, the time has run out with regards to our conversation, but this has been quite educational for myself and I believe for viewers at home. And just in closing, what would be your parting shot, or is there anything you felt like we left out that you'd like to highlight to our viewers at home?
So I think it's beyond our industry and beyond being a chef. I think when we look at how the world has changed, a lot of it is now becoming skill based, because now with AI and our dependency now on AI and digital, you know the focus has changed from becoming lawyers and doctors and teachers to now more skills based uh, practices.
Yeah.
So I always say, believe in what you want to do, believe in yourself, and believe in what you have to offer to the world. And if you can do that, you can achieve anything that you want and that you set yourself up for. And always do it with passion.
For the passion. But once again, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Viewers at home, that was my conversation with the president of SA Chefs Association, Coovashan Pillay, also known as, probably you heard me refer to him as Chef Coo Pillay. Hope that was insightful. And I'm just hoping through the ad break, you're going to be hitting the website and joining to be part of the association, if not the workshop itself. But for now, let's head over to an ad break. We'll see you just after this.